everyone, it's me, Agnes. So, thank you for watching our virtual talk. And today we have two very special guests here to share their experiences with us on the topic that's about an industry that spins the world. Basically, it's like the cycling industry right now that spins the world. So, we welcome Izzat and Jeff. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hey guys. Hello
Hi.
everyone. Hello
Hi.
everyone.
Today, our topic it's about an industry that spins the world. So, because right now, as everybody I've noticed, I think there are relatively more cyclists than it has ever been in Malaysia. So, like rising industry also means that the opportunities is there. Means like the job opportunities, or there are many more things for you to be in, like other than being a pro cyclist in the cycling industry. So, Izzat, like how is the cycling industry right now? Like is it a profitable industry?
Well, I guess if you're looking into the I guess the whole industry as a general, like you see a lot of industries are actually going through some sort of downfall. Like you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about like hospitality industries, the airline industries. At least
Yeah.
when I was in Australia, yeah, it's pretty bad. Hospitality. You've seen big hotels just close doors. I think I was in Malacca. Probably September last year. There was like Novotel closed the door.
Mm.
It's a big hotel, yes. So oil and gas, entertainment industry, a lot actually on sort of on a downfall. But cycling is on the flip side. Um, Things have been pretty good. Things have been pretty good in the cycling industry. In fact, like when I was in Australia, it's like they've never normally, like obviously in Australia, normally they sell bikes a lot more in Christmas time, is
Okay.
Christmas gear for the kids and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, so when COVID hits, they sell bikes more than they've ever sold during Christmas. So
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. And in fact, like I currently work as a bike mechanic at the Bike Artisans in KL. Like yeah, Jeff, the shop, the owner of the shop, Jeff, not Jeff Cronenberg, Jeffrey Liu.
Okay.
So Jeffrey Liu says like despite the 3 months MCO, the first month already covered the 3 months they closed down. It's nuts. I'll say the industry it's really profitable to say, but at the same time it's so profitable that it's so hard to get supplies. Like everything's
Yes.
just gone.
Yes.
So
Empty.
yeah, I don't know. Many of you try to get like Shimano parts, like chains that they're
Yes.
borderline none left. Yeah, they're borderline none left. So that we just had to go down to like a third party, like like third party stuff, like chain stuff like KMC or YBN, rather than going for the dedicated brands like Shimano or
Hmm.
SRAM and that sort of stuff. It's just crazy. But you can sort of really take advantage of this by actually do something else than what other major brands are doing. We've seen a lot of local
Yes.
brands are actually taking advantage of this. Like, we've
Yes.
seen a new cycling apparel brands like Maglia, then other brands like Pro Apparel, Plan A, who actually makes good stuff, but more at a more affordable rate, and people really like it. And they've actually, despite starting their business in MCO period, they have actually boomed really quick.
Yes.
Another yeah, it's crazy. Like people come into our shops and they buy like it's like like pasar malam. It's crazy.
Well, yeah.
And then people are looking for good components. We have this a local brand called RHC. I think you've heard of
Yeah.
that brand,
Oh,
RHC Components. they make really good wheels, bicycle wheels, and people are actually buying it. And then RC obviously experienced some sales boom as well. So if you really know what sort of angle to tap into, you can really make full use of this business. Even Harif Saleh came up with his own branded degreaser and bike wash.
Yes.
That went really well. so,
Yes,
so
yes,
it
yes.
is actually, when you look into it, it is a profitable business at this day. And then hopefully it stays, because more cyclists are coming into it, and that they, rather than, obviously we've seen people selling away their bikes, but we've seen more people are buying more and more and upgrading, even though they don't get any better, but just upgrading make them feel fast at least. So yeah, it is.
All right. So yes. So Job,
Yeah.
this is another question for you. So there is like a sudden boom of cycling during this MCO period, right? So it seems to kind of increase the price of cycling parts as well, like the spare parts and everything. So like, what's your opinion on this?
Well, again, like I said, I've been around for quite a while, right? So if we kind of track back
Okay.
when I started riding in late 90s, early 2000s, there were three shops in KL.
Okay.
Okay, there's three shops in KL. One was run by an ex-national rider, Jungan, Bike Pro, and one other shop. So the price of goods was just demand and supply, right? Everything was really was not competitive, right? Everything was you either bought from this shop or that shop, and that was it. Today, now we fast forward 20 years down the line, and you can kind of see the trajectory of the boom happen like in the last 3 to 5 years. Um, like Izzat has mentioned, it has sprouted a lot of, it has allowed a lot of people to sort of take up the opportunities. It has created a lot of business opportunities, which is great. Um, even if you take like the highway of LDP, there's probably like if you take a count between Kapong to Sunway, there's probably about 40 shops just along the LDP highway. And when I say 40 shops, you're not talking your mom and pop shops that sell your bog standard
Exactly.
La Run shop. A guy who's selling a Giant or a Pinarello or a Specialized and things like that. What it
Yeah.
says though is that it allows for a lot of opportunity. Well, then that also creates people who profiteer on lower demands. Oversupply, or sorry, over demands and not enough supply, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I guess this is natural, so to speak. It also allows an inroad for people to parallel import out of Taiwan into China. A guy from a condo can sort of go out there with 10,000 ringgit and buy up a few stocks and try and put up a Facebook site. But I think what it
Yes.
does say though, it creates, well, I think there's opportunities, but it will. So what is happening is, I tend to think is people are balancing it out. You will always get the value seeker who will try to get something cheaper, and you can never get away from that. Uh, I
Yes.
think the opportunity then is for shops and people like business owners to basically go, okay, how do I add value? How do I add value to the consumer, right? Do I provide better mechanics? So people like Bike Artisan, Cyclist Wardrobe, some of the better shops have gone out and invested in better people, better tools, making sure that they've got a better line with the distributors, warranty claims, and things like this. And this is where the disparity will happen, because the guy or the person who is doing the parallel gray import won't, disappears after he's done the sale, right? Done 2, 3 sales and can't sustain. So I tend to think that will happen naturally, and it's a natural. And if they do get better, you will find that they want to upgrade and become a real distributor as well. In the old days, I mean, I remember way back in the late 90s, there was this company called Sumo Sports based out of the UK. They used to go to Belgium in a van, buy a whole lot of gear, come into the criteriums in Notting Hill and all that sort of thing in London and Sussex and Surrey Hill, and sell all the Shimano gear cheap. Further down the line, they became helpless, right? One of the biggest guys around, and the guys finally resold their company and made a lot of money. So I tend to think, it's okay. It's not great for the industry, but the stayers within the industry, people like the good consumers who stay with the industry, will end up going back to the good stores and staying with the good stores because of the service that they can do. And I believe that for stores to survive as well, they then have to create that brand experience, right? That brand, that owner
Their own
experience,
value.
their own value.
Yeah.
And you see that happening with the stores that aren't possibly having the right people behind the desk, the right people behind the bikes, and things like that. Um, and I was just in a conversation today. I think one of the biggest challenges is ensuring that the stores now not just sell the equipment and sell bikes, but also create the experience. So to go out, ride with people, whether it's on a mountain bike, whether it's a road bike, create bike rides, create your shop rides, create your club rides. Um, and that kind of creates the experience, right? Because
Yeah.
somebody can walk into Bike Artisan or any of the stores, buy a $50,000 machine with all the latest carbon bling, step out the store, and then go, oh my God, there's so much traffic, I'm not gonna ride,
Exactly.
right? And then a week later, they
Yeah.
put up a Facebook post on Marketplace and says, bike for sale. So it's about the experience, right? It's about creating the
Yes.
experience,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I tend to
I
think
definitely
that
agree. I
the
definitely agree with that.
profiteers
Yeah.
can't do or won't do because they're just in
Mm.
it for the short term.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the after service and the customer experience is very important in a shop because like people like me, because when I first came back to Penang, I went to a new bike shop to get my like officially first bike. And when I went to the shop, the first thing, of course, I need to feel welcome. And if it's like new cyclists, after you bought a bicycle and you find it quite hard to like go join a local community. So I think like bicycle shop, they should have their own rights so that the customers and the like new cyclists they get to experience more of a good side of cycling.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
experience is very
if I
important.
may add, I mean, cycling it's great. It's a great sport and it's a great experience, but it can
Mm-hmm.
be very intimidating. Um,
Yeah.
because you get really caught up with it, right? You get up, so you go
Very
in and you have a
cliquey.
budget,
Very cliquey.
and then you kind of walk out the store and then you suddenly look around you and you go, oh my God, what's next?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
I
Yes.
think the opportunity is for people like Izzat, myself, and we're part of it as well. We're part of the ecosystem, right? And we're part
Yeah.
of, I would say, part of the problem as well, which we need to step out of our box and say we need to welcome people, right? And I think this is where cycling or is kind of going through this evolution. Um,
Mm.
you know, it cycling is actually about inclusivity at the end of the day. If you think about when we were 5 years old, and I'll use the we had a bike under the Christmas tree, right? It was like a sign of freedom. Open the gate of your house and out you
Oh
went.
yeah. Oh
You were
yeah.
with your
Mm.
friends. You didn't care what bicycle. You stole rambutans. You did all the nonsense, right? But
Yeah.
today, cycling it's intimidating. It's intensive, right? But really, it's not. It's as easy as getting on your seat, clipping in or not, putting a pair
Yeah.
of tennis shorts or lycra, going out and riding your bike.
Mm.
I tend to think, this is where we all kind of got to take a step back and
Mm.
kind of, I won't call it reevaluate, but recalibrate what it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of make it. And it requires a lot more effort, to say the least, to sort of make everyone feel more welcome. And I think the majority of people do, and I think generally everyone does. And I think that's the beauty
Yeah.
about cycling as well.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys think like ultimately like in the future will Malaysia be a cycling powerhouse?
I think it's getting there, right, Jeff? Like it's a normal thing to see that actually. I mean, these days it's normal to see people ride bikes. Back then, probably 2 3 years ago, you barely see any bikes. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think, so like I said, when I first rode, you know, I rode for a small team out of Taiwan.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, I was like the only stupid person riding a bicycle, right? Like everyone who was in sport wanted to be a football player. right?
Yeah.
Or go be a tennis player or pick up golf. Whereas today
Yeah,
we've got
yeah,
pro teams, we've got continental teams, right? We've got
yeah,
the
yeah,
likes of
yeah.
TSG, we've got the likes of Sapura, we've got the likes of a few other guys who set up sort of small continental teams. There's opportunities as a coach. Um, we have a world champion in the likes of Azizul
Mm,
Hasni.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So I tend to think the answer to that is yes, but we need to be clever about which sport we pick. Because in the
All
cycling
right.
genre, there's a huge scope, right? You can be a track
Yes.
rider, BMX rider, road rider, and where do you want to go with that?
Hmm.
Because Indonesia has great riders, and they come from a GDP that's way lower than us. Thailand has an amazing infrastructure cycling ecosystem, and they come from a lower
Yeah.
GDP. So I
Mm-hmm.
tend
Mm-hmm.
to think the opportunities are there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I've said this to a few people as well. The opportunities probably won't come from an urban environment like in a KL, urban built up area of KL or Selangor or Penang. It will
Mm-hmm.
come from the outskirts.
All
The,
right.
and I would say this because if you look at the trajectory again of a lot of the top guys, and this is like your likes of Azizul, Anwar Manan, Arif Saleh, and these guys, and most of the young, even the young riders who are riding on Sapura, they come from the sort of more rural communities. And when I say rural, I don't mean that in a substandard way. It's just that they have less distractions. Okay, they have less distractions. It's either I do well in school and then I go and do something really good, like in terms of academics or scholastics, or my next step is sport, whether it's football, whether it's something else. And cycling for especially a lot of the East Coast states, simply, I guess, from a, I don't know, natural habitat. They really have a robust club system. They have a very active club, and guys who are on the ground developing a lot of things in different little quiet little hubs like Ungun and Ampaka and all these sort of areas that are
Hmm.
happening sort of devoid of what's happening within KL. And they just get on with it. They just get on with it. They don't. There's a BMX track set up in Dungun. The boys they are riding. They're probably some of the best BMX riders we have that will send
Hmm.
off to WCC and UCI. And then suddenly you read about them 3 years ago, 3 years from now. Azizul Hasni had his start in a little club in Dungun, seen as a discard of the state system, and then today he is our top rider. So I think where I'm going with this is that the opportunities are there, but
Mm-hmm.
we kind of need to look for these nuggets. We need to look for these diamonds in the rough sort of thing. Um,
Okay.
and even if you look at in a global perspective, people like Froome and Quintana and all these guys, they never came from a urban, well, I won't say well brought up, but they came from a very hungry, very grassroots kind of thing. So
Yes.
sport has been it was a vehicle and a platform to access into bigger things. Okay, so if you
Yes.
look at the likes of all the big champions in the tours, in the Giros and all that, they all sort of came out from whatever situations they were in, and sport and cycling has allowed them to superannuate themselves into that situation.
Yes.
So I tend to think, yes, the powerhouse opportunity is there, but it's going to be outside there.
Yeah, I think they tend to appreciate more on what they have. Yeah, and because they have less distractions out there. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the next question, maybe for you, is that like, do you look at cycling as a sport or a lifestyle?
For me, it's more of a lifestyle. I mean, um, being as a someone that's as a training cyclist, like I really train excessively, so it has pretty much shaped my lifestyle. Like when I decide to wake up, when I decide to go to
Yeah.
bed, what do I eat for breakfast, what do I eat for lunch, what do I eat for dinner, when do I eat my lunch, when do I eat my dinner,
Wow.
how do I structure my week, yeah, so it's technically has become, the sport has sort of become a lifestyle for me. for me. That's me personally. It's not just because I'm pretty serious about it, and it didn't just become a sport, so it just end up
It's like a part of your
dictating my
life.
lifestyle.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Dictating my lifestyle. I'm like, oh shit, I can't eat this. Why? Cycling.
Exactly.
you know.
You gotta. Okay.
like, oh,
Yes.
I can't do this. I can't do this ride. Why? Oh, I got training sessions. It's
Oh
just that
no.
sort of stuff.
Yes. Yes.
but
Okay.
it's sort
Okay.
of
I
yeah,
feel
it's a
you.
sport, but it has become a lifestyle. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to the last question of the day,
yep.
shall we? So I would like to know, like, I think it's like a bit out of topic. If you
hmm
guys were not in the cycling industry, what will you guys be doing right now? Like, probably be doing right now.
Jeff, I'll let you go first.
I'd be a banking economist.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
so yeah, so I
Interesting.
trained, so I went to school, and I graduated as an economist.
Okay.
There we
I
go.
knew, yeah,
Demand, supply, expensive
demand,
bike
supply,
parts.
banking systems, and I knew I'd never want to ever work in a bank.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so that would probably be in the future.
Hmm.
I tend to think cycling has so many opportunities today, not just as a pro cyclist, not just as a bike shop owner, sustainable development, infrastructure development. There's a whole lot. There's a whole menu of things that one can do. So I think
Mhm.
um, young people coming into the sport, cycling provides a lot of opportunity,
Oh yeah. Sure.
not just as a cyclist, not just as a
Hmm.
coach, not just as a team manager, not just to work in a sportswear line or a mechanic. There's a whole range of things.
hmm
It's a really big industry in the world today. And
Yeah.
Malaysia is really well positioned in Asia. So we're close to Taiwan, close to China. Uh, Malaysia is a good position in Southeast Asia. So yeah, cycling has a lot of opportunities.
Hmm. All right. What about
Mm.
you, Izzat? If it's not cycling
Okay.
industry?
It's not cycling, right? I graduated in BA psychology back then in Adelaide, so probably
Okay.
somewhere along that line. Yeah. Yeah, something along that line. Psychology, probably a counselor or
Hmm.
anything applied psychology, probably. Development kind of program type thing. Yeah, that's what I probably think, but I've never actually thought of going that way the last few years. I just want to stay in the industry. Just want to stay in the
Okay.
industry. Like, I mean, just to add on top of yeah. I mean, in terms of what Jeff was saying, I mean, there's so many opportunities in cycling. People do not know, and actually thinking of going into this industry are probably tired of their 9 to 5 job and want something more interesting to do.
Oh
They,
yeah.
just didn't happen to find it when they were after they graduated or something, or like your old school parents. You're not considered successful unless you're an engineer or a doctor or an accountant. You're doing other than that, you're considered you're failing life kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the typical Asian parents. So nowadays it's a completely different. Like obviously you have your bike mechanics and then your retail work is in the bike shop and where you have your like owning your own bike shop and other things. If you bike fitting, you have a specific roles like a bike fitter. I think it's a cycling coach. It's a good one now that you've seen people are into cycling, and then you got more people into the performance. You will have a huge number of people. I do notice here, at least in Malaysia, we have a really big gap between the professionals and the low and the leisure of the recreational. You don't really have that middle ground. I don't know how to position myself here. Like I'm not a pro, but I'm not
Mhm.
that low level. I'm sort of in the middle, but there's not many people in that middle pool. Whereas obviously in overseas, like at least when I was in Australia, it's a huge pool of the kind of people that like I am. So things like cycling coach is definitely people want to look at how to actually improve the performance and stuff. We're in 2020. The social media is the new reality. Social media influencer, cycling social media influencer is your is your thing as well. You can just play with Instagram a whole day and make some money out of it. And then what else? Journalists, probably. Journalists, cycling journalists. This is another thing. Blog posting. If you're into engineers, you can do like engineering bicycle design, engineering, third party testing. There's this company called, I'm not sure if you heard of it, Jeff. Zero Friction Cycling.
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy is basically he's on a paternity leave, and he sort of just did while he was looking after his son, he was just doing all this testing on chains and lubricants, and then just end up into becoming his work. So all these loopholes that you can find in cycling. It's obviously the boom these days. You can always come up with new opportunities. There's no set in stone what you can do in the industry.
I tend to think it's such a great booming industry, and because you have mature markets in Europe and North America, and to a large extent even Australia, you don't actually have to go out and recreate the wheel. You can almost copy stuff and sort of bring technology over or bring expertise over, and kind of obviously you do need to invest a bit of time and effort and money to pick up the skills, but the opportunities are there. Like you said, coaching, you know. It's a range of things. There's structural things. There's stuff directly with bikes. There's stakeholder stuff, policy drivers. I think that's a whole different conversation, man.
Yeah.
Working with cycling slammer is another job opportunity in the industry.
Yes.
Who would have thought?
Yes. So I think to conclude things up about our today's topic, yes, we are all very happy to see there are more people like getting into cycling. And it's blooming, and there are a lot more opportunities in this cycling industry other than what people used to think only like the pro cyclists, or you cannot make money from like cycling. But right now it's slowly changing. There are a lot of opportunity out there. Keeping yourself by cycling, you can like keep yourself fit, and at the same time you have to work. So it balance up your life, like work-life balance. So thank you for the talk today. So we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, for
sure.
Guys.
Thank
you for inviting.
Thanks,
Good to
guys.
see you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Good to see you.
Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.